Hello.
Hello, Alabo.
Hello. How are you?
Siva, I've generated a PowerPoint for the readings and everything.
Yes.
You want to
can
let
share.
me share so I can share it?
Yes. Maybe now we have this for the discussion. What sort of way that we discuss that is displayed, and when we when we start after we allocate the readings, we can you can display this, but you can test whether you can share it.
Am I allowed now?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Let me see. Can you see it?
No. Yes. Yes.
Okay. So it would be one thing I wanted to ask you. You've put two readings for number 4. One is from Quran, one is from Baha'u'llah. Did you want that, or was that?
Yeah, because they were shorter readings, and also I wanted to have that number to be 9. So, yeah.
So with this, the 2 readings for number 4.
Yeah.
There is 9, including those 2 at number 4. And then you have this thing, this reading. Who reads this reading?
No, these are not for a display. I have it as a background. When we play the music, I show it sometimes.
Okay.
Mm.
So I've prepared. I mean, I can do the readings if you want, or I can send this to your WhatsApp.
You mean this PowerPoint?
Yeah. Or you can let me to run it. I don't know.
Yeah, you can do it. You can do it, but when the music comes, I will play the music.
Okay.
But
then I'll have to unshare for you to do it.
That's right. So send me this on the WhatsApp. I will share it.
I can do it if I do control. If you look at if I press on that link that you have sent.
Yeah, but I don't. Yes.
It
Try.
What's that?
Try it whether it plays.
Yeah, sure.
See whether you can share the music. You have to choose the option, share computer sound. First,
doing it before, but it's not doing it now. I was old.
You have to choose the option, shares computer sound.
Can you see this?
I don't hear the music.
Well, okay. I'll have to unshare and share again, I think.
No, there is an option, share sound. There should be 3 dots.
Why can't you see it?
Now I see the.
Can you see it?
I see the video, yes.
So if I.
But I think you play this in the background. Let the words be in the screen.
Oh, okay. You don't want to show the video.
No.
Oh, okay.
So on the background, and when you share the document.
Can you hear it?
No.
No, because I didn't press that sound thing. So actually, what I could do, let me just stop this. What I'll bring this screen, share again. Okay, you know what I do? You play the music and I just share the screen.
So now,
can you do that?
For me to share it, because I don't want to show the video, I only want to show the words. So either we had to use the Word document that I have, I can share the Word document. So we will share the Word document. Or you send me this on the WhatsApp. I will share this one.
I'll have to email it back to myself, and then it's a bit of difficulty. There's not enough time. It's 7 o'clock now.
Okay.
So
why not?
Can you see it now?
I can see the screen.
Okay. So if I go there.
Now, do you have the option share screen? There are 3 dots. You have to share, use that to share screen.
You don't see?
No. On your computer,
yeah,
there should be 3 dots. There are options. One of them is share computer audio.
Yeah, I think. Yeah. Okay.
I didn't have anyone. It's okay. We will use our document, okay? Because it's already late. I use my document. Okay, Ahmad.
Yeah.
I'll use my document, okay?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and for the
well, I was going to do an acknowledgement slide.
You can read it from your computer.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I will share the interfaith protocol now.
Tracy says she can't get into.
Yeah, because I didn't admit anyone, and we talk all these things. Okay, now they are being admitted.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, Paul.
How are you, Anis Ahmed?
Good. Tracy, hello. You got in.
Yes.
Standing message.
Because I was delaying because we were discussing something.
Right.
So, and Sandy is there too. And Palita, our friend Palita, welcome. And,
Nice to see you.
Tracy. Sandy, your voice is not working.
Who, me?
Sandy.
Oh.
Sandanam. Hmm. Can everyone please mute except the speaker and the it's Ahmed, you can.
Okay, welcome everyone to the Interfaith meeting tonight. We have got 9 readings and I'd like to get some readers for them. We start with the acknowledgement of the traditional people of this land before that, and then music, and then the 9 readings. So if I could ask people to volunteer for readings. Who wants to do number 1?
Barry wants to do one.
Gladly.
Barry. Okay, number 2.
Marina will do it. I'll do it.
Marina. Number 3.
Yep, I'll do that.
Colin. Number 4.
I can do.
Yes, Ali.
Ali.
Yeah.
Number 5.
I heard you in the other room saying she can do it.
Who?
Young.
Oh, Young.
Number 5.
Yeah, number 5.
Thank
Young.
you. Thank you.
Number 6.
I can do number 6.
Tracy. 7.
If I can do that, I don't know, but I don't know what is it. I can't see on the screen.
Not now. Not now. Wait for it.
It's just a reading. It's a short reading. I think number 7 is
Forward.
Okay, number 7. All right.
yeah, number 7 forward. And number 2 more to go.
Number 8, Palita.
Palita, is it okay?
Alita.
Oh, Sandy, number 8.
Sandy.
Number 8.
Okay, Sandy, number 8.
And I will read number 9.
And Folita, number 9.
Palita, number 9.
Yeah. Is everybody happy with that? I guess no response, I would say yes, everybody's happy with that. So I'd like to acknowledge first the traditional people of here. So we acknowledge Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders people as the traditional custodians of our land, Australia. The Gadigal of the Eora Nation are the traditional custodians of this place we now call Sydney. So I would like to acknowledge Gadigal of the Eora Nation, the traditional custodians of this land, and pay my respect to the elders, both past and present. as I'm living in Sydney. So we start with music first, and then we have the readings.
I've been holding for so long, scared I might slip away. Sometimes I just feel so lost, but I know that I'll find my way. Oh, I cannot lie, it's hard, sometimes I lose my mind. Constant whispers in my head, temptations hard to fight. But I know that if I lose your guidance, I'll go blind. That is why I need you. Oh, show me the way. Oh, don't let me stray. Oh, I need you. Oh, I beg you. Oh, take me out of darkness into your light. I know I gotta stay strong, trying hard every day. 'Cause 100 times I've been so wrong, but I know I can make that change. Oh, I cannot lie, it's hard, sometimes I lose my mind. Constant whispers in my head, temptations hard to fight. But I know that if I lose your guidance, I'll go blind. Protect me, my Lord. Oh, show me the way. Oh, don't let me stray. Oh, I need you. Oh, I beg you. Oh, take me out of darkness into your light. My Lord, I'm grateful for your mercy. Whenever I fall down, you pick me up. 'Cause you're the one who's always there for me. Oh, show me the way. Oh, don't let me stray. Oh, I need you. Oh, I beg you. Oh, take me out of darkness into your light.
O my God, unite the hearts of thy servants and reveal to them thy great purpose. May they follow thy commandments and abide in thy law. Help them, O God, in their endeavor and grant them strength to serve thee. O God, leave them not to themselves, but guide their steps by the light of thy knowledge and cheer their hearts by thy love. Verily, thou art their helper and their Lord. Say, no man can attain his true station except through his justice. No power can exist except through unity. No welfare and no well-being can be attained except through consultation.
Be unwed.
United.
Yeah, be united. Speak in harmony. Let your minds apprehend alike. Common be your prayer. Common be the end of your assembly. Common be your resolution. Common be your deliberations. Alike be your feelings. Unified be your hearts. Common be your intention. Perfect be your unity. Rigveda.
Now, in understanding, wrong understanding as wrong, and right understanding as right, one practices right understanding, first step, and in making efforts to overcome wrong understanding and to arouse right understanding, one practices right effort, sixth step, and in overcoming wrong understanding with attentive mind and dwelling with attentive mind in the possession of right understanding, one practices right. Attentiveness, seventh step. Hence, there are three things that accompany and follow upon right understanding, namely right understanding, right effort, and right attentiveness. The Eightfold Path Buddha.
Let the woman live in Aida in the same style as you live, according to your means, annoy them not so as to restrict them. And if they carry life in their womb, then spend substance on them until they deliver their burden. And if they suckle your offspring, give them their recompense. And take mutual counsel together according to what is just and reasonable. The Quran. The great being said, the heaven of divine wisdom is illumined with the two luminaries of consultation and compassion. Take ye counsel together in all matters, inasmuch as consultation is the lamp of guidance which leadeth the way and is the bestower of understanding. Baha'u'llah.
Consultation bestowed greater awareness and transmuted conjecture into certitude. It is a shining light which in a dark world leadeth the way and guideth. For everything here is and will continue to be a station of perfection and maturity. The maturity of the gift of understanding is made manifest through consultation. Baha'u'llah. Settle all things, both great and small, by consultation. Without prior consultation, take no important steps in your own personal affairs. Concern yourselves with one another. Help along one another's projects and plans. Grieve over one another. Let none in the whole country go in need. Befriend one another until they become as a single body, one and all. Abdu'l-Baha.
The prime requisites for them that take counsel together are purity of motive, radiance of spirit, detachment from all else save God, attraction to his divine fragrances, humility and lowliness amongst his loved ones, patience and long suffering in difficulties, and servitude to his exalted threshold. Should they be graciously aided to acquire these attributes, victory from the unseen kingdom of Baha shall be vouchsafed to them. Abdu Baha.
The purpose is to emphasize the statement that consultation must have for its object the investigation of truth. He who expresses an opinion should not voice it as correct and right, but set it forth as a contribution to the consensus of opinion. For the light of reality becomes apparent when two opinions coincide. A spark is produced when flint and steel come together. Man should weigh his opinions with the utmost serenity, calmness, and composure. Before expressing his own views, he should carefully consider the views already advanced by others.
Sandy. Sandanam.
Mind precedes its objects. They are mind governed and mind made. To speak or act with a peaceful mind is to draw happiness after oneself, like as inseparable shadow. I have been insulted. I have been hurt. I have been beaten. I have been robbed. Anger seizes in those who do not harbor these sorts of thoughts. Occasions of hatred are certainly never settled by hatred. They are settled by freedom from hatred. This is the eternal law. Others may not understand that we must practice self-control, but quarreling dies away in those who understand this fact.
In all things, it is necessary to consult. This matter should be forcibly stressed by thee, so that consultation may be observed by all. The intent of what had been revealed from the pen of the Most High is that consultation may be fully carried out among the friends, inasmuch as it is and will always be a cause of awareness and of awakening and a source of good and well-being. Baha'u'llah.
Okay, before I introduce our speaker and the topic of today, once again, I would like to acknowledge our elders. We acknowledge and pay respect to the past, present, and future traditional custodians and elders of this nation, and the continuation of cultural, spiritual, and educational practices of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders peoples. Now, if I go to the topic of tonight, our topic is Our Minds Create Our Worlds. And our speaker is Mr. Sandanam. Sandy is a trained facilitator of the National Academy of Human Values, Australia. He's a retired civil engineer based in Canberra with a certificate in training and assessment diploma in the project management, bachelor's degree in civil engineering, and master's in environmental engineering. He's also a chartered member of the Engineers Australia. He worked as a project manager in ACTEWAGL, if I'm correct, in Canberra, and later with the ACT government. Now, I introduce Mr. Sandanam. Sandy, if you could put on your presentation on show, it's not on show. On the bottom right, there's a screen icon. If you click on that.
Is it appearing now?
Yeah. You can see it, but it's not in the show mode. If you click the icon on the bottom right, that shows in a show mode, or go to view and say show.
Where is that view?
View on the top, yeah, and then say show. show slides. On the bottom right of your screen, there is an icon where it increases the size. Next to it on the left, there is an icon. If you just click that, yeah, further down. Yeah, no, on the right.
Third one.
Three more icons on the right.
Yeah, fourth
But
one.
maybe he wants to go each slide by slide on his own individually and talk about it. So if it is a show
Okay.
more, then it might go off quickly. So it is better
Now,
to be like.
can you see the first slide or not?
Yeah, yeah.
We
I
can
think
see it,
he-
but it's not in show mode.
It's okay.
Right, I think he let him go one slide by slide. That will be easier.
Okay.
Okay.
Is it okay now?
Yes.
Or-
Yeah, we can see it.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So the topic today is our minds create our world. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening to all. Also, I thank Dr. Ahmad Anis for the nice introduction. And also I offer my prostrations at lotus feet of Almighty and seek his guidance for his talk. Also acknowledging the traditional owners of this land where we are gathered. And to start the talk, I would like to give a bit of background, because this talk is based on the Buddhist discourses I have been listening for 4 years from Reverend Aragatun Wonse, Dr. Pereira. So I thank him for this, and I will continue with the topic of the day. And before I start, as I am coming from the National Academy of Human Values, the disclaimer of the National Academy of Human Values also is displayed here. It's basically, you have to seek your own independent professional guidance, advice and guidance or relating to this topic, and the Academy will not accept any responsibility for the presentations here I am making. And also it is also mentioning here that ensuring accuracy of as much as possible here. Now coming to the topic is our minds create our world. It is referring to the declaration made by Lord Buddha, which says Chittena Niyati Loko, and also it is referred to as Chittam Niyati Loko. So the topic has very great relevance to inner inquiry, because it is through inner inquiry we can realize that our minds create our world. It's also called self-inquiry. So as you might know, in Buddhism and Hinduism, we are all urged to do the inner inquiry to understand ourselves and the outer world. Lord Buddha called this Arya Paryeshana, that is the noble search. In other words, it also means inner inquiry. Now, we have 6 senses, sense organs: ear, eye, nose, tongue, body, and mind. And these 6 inner sense organs receive sense inputs. And we need to know the inner mechanism, how they operate, and what happens when we get these inputs. And also the complex mind. The mind is the one that perceives these inputs. And let's see what the mind is. The Oxford Dictionary gives the mind is the element of a person that enables him to be aware of the world and the experiences, to think and to feel, and the consciousness and thought. Basically, the mind has 2 faculties, that is mental phenomena, that is thoughts, processes like thinking, reasoning, and those things, and also sense impression, that is the inputs received from all the 6 senses. And in this talk, what I'm mentioning is mind is not a physical organ. We can imagine the mind as an imaginary screen or a mirror. Also, we have to understand that mind does not retain any inputs it receives, either in the form of sense impressions or mental phenomena. So what happens, where as soon as the mind receives these inputs, it passes on to the memory center, and thereafter the impressions disappear from the mind. Now we have 6 sense organs. As an example, let us take eye and investigate how the eye facilitates us to see. So, but as we know, the eye has 2 constraints. That is, first one is with respect to the visible spectrum, can see, and also the speed of visual perception. So the spectrum that we can see is normally from colors violet to red. And for the perception, a ray or word we can perceive, or we can comprehend it in about 50 milliseconds, and a picture in about 150 milliseconds, or about 1/6 of a second. Now, the example I am going to consider is my eyes looking at a flower and myself, and I will see how the mechanism of the eye and the other organs facilitate me to see what is there. So in diagram 1, this is, we know from physics here, and for the purposes of clarity, I have enlarged the eye here. So the flower and myself, and we get the inverted image. So when we hear from our physics teacher, that is information. And when we go to the physics lab and do a practical with the convex lens, and we see that the images are inverted, that is experience. Likewise, we will see how the other things we have to, I am presenting you now, you have to experience yourself through inner inquiry. So what happens is, as when this the images of myself and the flower falls on my retina, the retina won't be able to see that the flower and myself there. It only gets a sensation. So what happens? Let's go to diagram 2. From the retina, as electromagnetic waves, it is sent to the brain. And in the brain, it does 2 things. One is it makes the image upright, and also it transilluminates this image, and you can see the image projected here in the mind. But in this image also, there are insufficient attributes for the mind to recognize exactly what it is looking at. Because we have to remember that these attributes come from our past memory records. So what the mind does, we can see in diagram 3. So in diagram 3, here the mind sends it back to the brain, and through the brain to our past memories center where our past memories, including our past lives, are stored there. So for clarity of purposes, it is shown here. It could be in the brain or it could be outside the brain. That is a matter for discussion. And also, and next to that, I have shown the past actions, that is including all the past lives, all actions. That means in our terminology, it is the karma, we call it in Hindu philosophy term. And all actions, we have the thoughts, our words, and our physical action. All that is installed here. And this has, according to the Buddhist concept, 5 compartments. The first one is the positive action, that means virtuous action. And the second one is negative or sinful action. And the third one is blissful action, resulting from meditative processes and similar things. And there are 2 other compartments. That one is basically that reflects our thought. The thought, we can have good thought as well as bad thought. So these thoughts are like chaff. That means they are grain without seed. So they don't result in real action, but they can trigger action, negative or positive. So what happens is, when these 2 images are received in our memory center, so the memory center immediately takes a copy, because its main purpose is record keeping. So all the inputs coming, whether it is from the ear or nose or throat, the body or tongue or even eye, it keeps a record, and it takes a copy of that, and using energy from this has energy there. Using energy from here, as it is seen in diagram 3, it quickly matches with the memory records it has. So from the past memories, suppose, so it refers to this one and sees this as the flower as a white rose flower. And the image here as my image there in the past memory. So then it again sends back to the brain, and the brain sends it back to the mind, and the mind now has the image of myself and the white lotus flower here with all the necessary attributes to identify. You can also ask the question, suppose if this is a flower which I have never seen, then the mind will turn it blank and say it is a flower, but not seen before. And what happens now is the mind has all the necessary facility to see the myself and the flower there. But then the mind does a big trick here. So it immediately after it receives this, it does project it outside. So the image, what it has received with add-ons from the memory center, that is the flower and myself, it immediately projects it outside. And the big illusion the mind gives us is that make us believe that we are seeing the flower outside. Also, I am seeing myself outside. This is the big illusion. So what really happens is the outside, what is there, we actually don't see. What we see is the image created by our mind and projected outside. If you go back to my first diagram, so here it is inverted. So but here, the mind makes it upright. And the upright image, which the mind makes here, it makes us to believe it is outside, whereas it is really in the mind, which is really an imaginary, non-physical entity. So that is the big illusion here. So in summary, sorry, the diagram for here, I will read what is here. It can be seen from that there is the past actions, where all past actions are negative, positive, and installed. Using energy from past actions into the memory center matches images instantaneously with records of similar previous images. Then it gets additional information from the matching memory records, take a quick copy of the two images, and then send them back to the mind via the brain. The original images are stored in the memory center. The copy with add-ons received by the mind from the memory center will now have sufficient information for the mind to perceive these images. This is in diagram 4 here. So this is the projection, then what the mind does. So in summary, what happens here is, basically in this talk, we have physical sense organs, and they have limitations. Like I explained, eye has limitations with respect to the visible range of spectrum and also the speed of visual perception. And the mind is not a physical organ. It is like a mirror or a cinema screen. It is a stream of consciousness where sense impressions and mental phenomena are constantly changing. So sometimes there will be input from the brain where there are thoughts coming and they go back. They go. Where do they go? They go back to the memory center. Similarly, input from the eye come to the mind through the brain and go back to the memory center. That is how the process continues. So there is nothing in the mind. It's blank when whatever it receives goes back to the memory center. And as I said, we need to do inner inquiry to understand the inner mechanisms of all these 6 sense organs we have. And the sense organs don't perceive any sense impressions. They are just instruments to facilitate our mind to perceive sense impressions. What we see outside, this is the very important point there. It's the illusion created by our mind. What we see the outside is not ourselves and the outside world. We only see an image of ourselves and the world created by our minds projected outside. The above is true for other 5 sense organs, that is ear, nose, tongue, brain, and body. And if I go back again to this diagram here, so you may be thinking that why I take myself and the flower instead of taking the flower alone, because our mind is creating the world and projecting it outside along with us. That is the important point I wanted to mention here. So basically, if you do this inner inquiry, you will realize, as I explained to you in the physics lab, you do the experiment with the convex lens to see the images inverted. Here you will realize that the mind is doing a trick on us, and that is giving us the elusive world. So, and first thing is Lord Buddha, for the liberation, he basically in summary mentions untying of 3 knots. The first knot is the one that I am outside. The second one is the world is outside. And the third one is, and there are images, what I see here. So if we can untie these 3 knots, then we are liberated from the cycle of birth and death, according to Buddhism. And in Buddhism, it is called the Yadat Sutta. So it is quite detailed, and it goes with a lot of inner inquiry. But basically, for my talk, is to present yourself the details of how the inner mechanism of the eye, the brain, and coupled with the past actions, center of our past actions and past memories, how it creates an image for us and projects it to the outside world. And basically that is what we wanted to say. And if you have any questions or insights, I am happy to listen or answer.
Okay, you can raise your hands in the digital form to have questions to Sandy. While we're getting people to do, maybe I can ask you a few questions. It is proven by science that perception of senses are faulty. And for example, we look at the moon in the horizon, the full moon in horizon, and say, wow, this is a huge moon and very nice and pink. And then you take a photo of that, and then the photo comes exactly the same as an image that is in the full above, when the moon is above and bluish and small. So our senses are a bit faulty or perceiving correctly. So I'm wondering whether we should rely on our perception of our senses in thoughts like religion and things like that. So, or we should look at these topics in a different way. What would you say to that?
Yeah, the question is, so should we?
The question is that our perception of senses are faulty, and we are not able to truly understand from our senses.
Yes, yes, yes.
So,
say for example,
is it right to rely on these senses when we go into meditation or into topics like religion?
So now, so let's see this diagram. So I will take I as the example here. So when say the flower and myself, I am looking at that. So as you will know that there are a lot of light rays will be coming one after the other. And this picture, that means myself and the flower, for me to perceive, as I mentioned before, because of the speed of visual perception and all that, I need about 150 milliseconds or about 1/6 of a second. So what happens is lot of light rays what are coming from myself and the flower to my retina will be missed. That is one thing. So in other words, so what is happening, what is seeing there is the appearing and disappearing concept is coming there. That is one thing there. So that is one thing, because the sense, as you said, they are faulty beyond so many aspects, because this is another aspect which I wanted to mention here, because we miss some of the things. And other thing is, say, for example, we see a fan rotating. When we turn the switch on, we can see the blades. But when the rotation exceeds the speed of visual perception, we see all the blades as one. This is how we are seeing things outside. So, the best way to understand is to understand with the inner inquiry. Go inwards and do the inner inquiry and see how the mechanism works and how the senses are making us believe that things are outside. In other words, Lord Buddha has said, if I go back to the last diagram, yes. Yeah, this diagram. Lord Buddha, what he says is what the image I get on my mind, that is myself and the flower, with the attributes given from the past memory center to identify the details. This is a dream, according to him. And what is projected outside is an illusion. We had to come out of the illusion as well as the dream for us to realize. So that means, as you said, we have to come to terms with the understanding that these sense organs are illusive. Yes.
Okay, before I ask other questions, we have two people that have raised their hands. So let's go to them first. Colin, can you unmute yourself and ask your question?
Yeah, that was very interesting, and I think it's basically correct, because everything I've learned in science and philosophy backs it up. That, for example, the color green isn't really out there. It's waves which our eye and the mind creates the color green, and we imagine that the plant is green. And the same with something's with all our other senses. So I can get that. Now that raises a question: if I'm creating that reality out there, there must have been some input which came in and triggered it. So there must be, I think, something real out there, not just an illusion. Is there anything real outside myself? For example, the other participants here, are you all real?
Yes, because actually in the spiritual term, so when you go to the real spirituality of the Buddhism, so it transcends dualism. So in other words, you can't say it is there, you cannot say it is not there. But now in our terms, what we can understand is there is something outside. But we don't see exactly what is outside. That is what I would say. But later on, when we progress towards inner inquiry, we will have a little bit of a different realization. Is that clear?
Yes, that's good. I'm glad there's something real out there.
Thank you. Yes. And also another important thing is, so I mentioned the two things the brain does. First one is it is making it upright, and second thing it does is trans-illuminate the image. The transelimination is is a biological term to highlight the clarity of what we see.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, the next is person that wants to ask question is Siva.
Oh, thank you. Well, thank you, Sandy, for this presentation. I have a question, and before that, following on the question Colin asked, see, there is something outside, but I think Sandy said that through the past actions and past memory, it matches the attributes and it recognizes it as something based on its past memories and action. Is that right, Sandy?
Yes and no, because what happens is, for example, Perry, so if I first when the so here in let's see, I will go to the diagram. This diagram, okay. So say for example, I now this is I am seeing Perry here. Say you are there. Okay, now my mind gets the image here. So there is it will say a man, but it won't say exactly the attributes who it is and say. Then it will say, for example, so it goes back to the memory center. When it goes back, the image basically it's not changed. So the attributes, add-ons are there. Say, for example, so this is Perry, your batchmate in uni, and with whom you have been going to the temple during Fridays, and all those things will come to the mind. You understand? Mm-hmm. So those are the things that add on and clarify. Say, for example, if the rose flower has a smell, and if you have past memory record of that smell, that also comes on. Mm-hmm. And if there is a music, that also comes on. So all that comes on there. Those are the additional attributes to identify properly. And it gives you back a little bit of a story of what it is, you know. Mm-hmm. That is what it is. Is that clear?
Yeah, so that means there is something out there.
And also, can I say, explain this? So for example, now say, we'll go back from the beginning. So newborn babies, they don't have an established memory center for some time. So at that time, they won't, till they establish the memory center. And so this is my father, this is my mother, and all that happens, and it goes into the memory record, and they are able to retrieve that through the brain, through this process I mentioned. They won't even remember their parents. Mm-hmm. So, and as we grow older and older, the memory record builds up.
So the concept or the word that you use, that it is the mind creates the illusion, that's because we do not fully comprehend what we are actually seeing, because it is all a process through this past experience. Is that right? When you say it is an illusion, but there is something outside.
Yes, it is like this, Perry. So there is something outside. Okay, yes. There is, say, myself, yourself, and all the participants here. Mm-hmm. They are there. But when you are looking at in the Zoom, you see the images. But if you are seeing them in reality also, you see an image of them projected with all the attributes you can add on from your past memory record, and it is projected outside. Okay. That is what there. In a way, it has some relevance to our past, how do you call it, actions. Mm.
Okay.
Not only in this birth, previous births also.
The other question
That is more complex to deal with that topic. Yes.
The other question I want to ask is, where is the memory center?
Yes, that is it's some people can say the memory center, the memories are in the brain. But according to what I heard from that Reverend Aratun once say, these are basically called in their language, it is Ahasic record in Ahas, that means in space. It's like, like iCloud or something you can imagine, something like that.
But it is associated with that person.
Yes. So in the brain, there is a memory retrieval center. So it retrieves this one from the space. That is what, according to what I heard. But this is this can be debated by some science with science background will say the memory is in the brain. So
it is not a physical thing, but it is something associated with that person.
Yes. But what I heard from my Arahatun once say, that Reverend Arahat doctor, is that there are each of us, there are two things side by side. One is the past actions, the center having all our past actions, the 5 components, positive, negative, and the blissful, and the thoughts, the negative and positive thoughts, all that 5 there. And they are the ones which have the energy. And the other one is just the record of all the taste, smell, touch, sense of touch, audios, visuals, and all inputs, all thoughts, all go there into that memory center. This is not only in this life, all the past lives also.
Thank you.
That is what it is. Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, I think scientists have shown that the memory, there are parts of the brain that are associated with the memory, but they have not found a location in the brain that can be said the memory resides there. So kind of memory is out of physical world. The other thing is that, Sandy, do you consider memory outside of the brain, of the mind, or you consider it a tool for the mind to use?
Yes, as I said, the mind does not retain anything. There is nothing in the mind. Mind is like, as I mentioned, you see, consider the mind as a more than the mirror. It is like the screen in a cinema theater. So, but this is more than that, because in the cinema theater, we get the audio and the visual inputs, and they come, and then when they go, the screen is blank. Here in the mind, the audio visual inputs come, and also thoughts come, and also the sense inputs from the other organs, like the taste, smell, sense of touch, all that come there to the mind. And this is all, it is appearing and disappearing, because nothing, disappearing means it doesn't disappear into the thing, it goes into the memory center as for recording, for record purposes. So that is what happens. And also, according to what I heard, the mind is also very, it's subtle, it has no dimensions, very subtle. It's like a pinpoint or something like that. But that is the one which gets energy from our past action center to propel into the life. That is the one making us live, according to what I heard. That means it is this mind, although it is non-physical, it is located inside the cavity in our heart, near the AV and SV nodes, which activate the AV-SV nodes by some induction or something. I can't explain how it is with the past action, that energy it gets from there, and our lifespan is determined by that. And when it's like a charged battery, when the battery depletes, the life ends. That is how the mind, then the mind also just disappears, and then new life and new mind.
I guess memory helps us to perceive ourselves and our environment in a much better way.
Yes, correct. Yes,
Because it's a tool for the mind.
Yes, because the memory gives us some information for us to live, and also it also is another cause of it's the main cause of another illusion also. So if you go into self-inquiry, if you progress quite well, you will understand that there is no past and no future, only a present, continuous present. I say ever continuous present. Because it is the memory which record we have which makes us believe that there is a past. Otherwise, we will experience a continuous present moment. Ever continuing, continuous present moment.
Okay, the next person is Young. Can you ask your question?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Mr. Sandy, you work in the energy area, and I did major research on electromagnetic fields, and you mentioned about electromagnetic field spectrum here, spectrum, and then also I saw the note next to it is a segment of vision light. And the reason why,
what is that? I could not get what is that? Can you say it again?
You put in your note something to do with electromagnetic spectrum, and next to it is the segment of vision light.
It is not electromagnetic spectrum. This is the range of visible spectrum, light.
No, the second one, electromagnetic spectrum.
Yes, the human kind. So electromagnetic spectrum.
Yeah, I study that electromagnetic field.
Yes.
And whether it's called cancer or not. And the thing that with your paper, it linked with segment of vision light. And what I'm seeing is there are two aspects in here. One is physics or gravity, and another one is spiritual study or spiritual realm. So therefore, what I'm asking, what is the relation that you try to tell us about that is something to do, because according to the...
Can I get the last statement, basically the main question again, please?
The thing that I want to say, I said your paragraph there imply two things. First is a physics or gravity, electromagnetic field that we call, whether it's called cancer or not. And obviously the answer said that people are not sure, the scientists or doctors, they said they're not sure if electromagnetic field called cancer in people, and whether people have to be on life support system or so something when they really, die of cancer. And for me, is because you write it in here, so I said next word you got something to do with segment of vision light. You see, call the segment of light or something here. So what I'm saying, color violet to red. But what I'm saying, I see two things, one is spiritual thing, and one is physics, gravity.
Yes, can I go back? Can I go back to the explanation? Now, you are clear on this, the visible range of colors from violet to red, it is clear, isn't it?
What I'm saying, there are two things here, you see.
Yes, yes, say yes or no. Is it clear?
You look into the engineering mind, and you'll also look into spiritual mind.
Yes.
And with the spiritual mind, you say that noble search eye is knows, for example, you say that mind is a stream of consciousness where sense and mental phenomena are changing constantly. But according to Buddha meditation, when people sit down for meditation, their mind will be like slowed down. And so they got to slow down all that senses and mental phenomenon running. They got to slow them down.
Yes.
Because that's how meditation run.
Yes.
And so you say mind is involved in perception and sensation. And what I'm asking if how people have developed gut feelings. Like sometimes they look at something like Mr. Anis tried to describe. They look at something and something in memory, something with emotion, and something special, sensation, perception, or whatever. So, and they can see it in a positive way or negative way, subjective or objective, whether they're subjective because they experienced that one before, or they see it in an objective way because they want to distance from the situation. So the mind is very complex. And how you describe about gut feelings?
Yes. Yes, yes, mind is very complex. I also mentioned it, I think, somewhere. But there are two things in the mind. One is the input it receives from the senses. It's coming and impinging on the mind through the respective sense organs. That is one thing. The other one is the thought processes, the mental phenomena. Those are the things what I mentioned here. As you said, meditation, when we are doing meditation, so we are controlling the mind to an extent possible, and by that the sense inputs are reduced, and also the mental phenomena in the way of thoughts coming also is reduced. The spiritual part of it, what I am trying to do is, all that I showed here is what is happening. So up to here, it is how do you call it? It is outward, what appears as outside, because this is physics basically. And thereafter, all these things, what is happening here, all these diagrams here, or this diagram here, all that is, I am showing it for your information, but what you have to do, each of us have to do, is the inner inquiry. The inner inquiry, then we will, as like the example I gave is in the first slide I showed you, that here. So when our physics teacher tells us that this is inverted image in the retina, then but we do a lab experiment with the convex lens, we know it is an inverted image coming, then we experience that. Similarly, all that what I have said here is information only. You have to do self-inquiry or inner inquiry to realize, that is, go inward. And one of the important things for that is also a prerequisite, I would say, is meditation, because you have to control the mind to go inward. Then you will realize that this is what is happening. You will experience it. It's not ever, because you should not believe what I say. You have to, like doing that experiment in the lab with the convex lens, you have to do this, your own inner inquiry to realize this. So this part is the spiritual aspect of it. Is that clear?
Thank you very much. I think it's very interesting.
Yes.
Especially when you,
Yes.
you connect to electromagnetic fields.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very,
No,
like
that is only for information.
Yes.
And also to explain the constraints each of our sense organs has. And the inner inquiry will reveal what the mind is tricking us when we are engaged with the sense organs. That is the crux of the study.
Okay, the next is person that has got a question is Zore. Do you want to ask your question?
Yes.
Hello, thank you. I just want to say that, what I learned in some other places, that body mind, and spirit, the triangle of body, mind, and spirit. And then body, because we live in this material or physical world, that's what we say we have a body, because we have all the senses. And then we have the mind, which we collect from the memories or what we collect. And then we are left with the spirit or spiritual world. How do you bring that? Because I know with meditation, you can get to a lot of learning and lots of things for meditation. But I feel that spiritual world is very vast. Or I also thought if you could explain something about blissfulness.
Yes. Thank you. Yes, I think I should mention. Yes, it's a good question. Say, for example, so I just touched on it, but then I got distracted to say something else. So the reason why I am showing myself in this example, I'm projecting, I am looking at myself is to see that, since we have the false impression that we are looking at ourselves, our body as a physical body, so then only we get the concepts of I, me, and mine. All those constructs within us come because of this illusion. So the purpose of inner inquiry is to get rid of this inner illusion first. That is, you get rid of your ego. So you get rid of the my concept, mine concept, and then actually when you get rid of this one and when you get rid of the other one, the second not what Lord Buddha said, that is outside world is also not relevant to you through your I think Perry or somebody read the noble path, Eightfold Noble Path of Lord Buddha. We have to practice that together with meditation. So we will understand that the world has no value for us because it is not something staying in a continuous state. It is ever changing. So, and if we grasp anything from outside, it ends up in sorrow. Because of it is changing, that is decay, and if it is a living body, it dies. So if someone nearer and dearer to us dies, then we have big sorrow. So if we get rid of I, me, mine concept, and if we understand the outside, those are the first two knots Lord Buddha is asking us to untie, then we move from the outer world to the inner world. So when we come into the inner world, he says that from here on, your inner inquiry goes on automatically with very little effort. But from here, from outside to inside, you need greater effort to come in, because it is a hard task. Because we all think that we are seeing, say, for example, I am seeing you on the Zoom screen, like that I am seeing Perry and I am seeing Dr. Anis, and all that is given by the mind, So all that we have to reverse that. Basically untie those knots, yes.
For example, if we say that we have love in our hearts, we know that it's not inside the heart, but it is, the love is there because of the experiences and
yes, again a good question. Yes, coming back here. So now you have untied this knot and this knot. And this is the third knot. But before that, now see, when you untie all these knots, the mind, as I told, is an imaginary tiny speck. It has no dimension. So, but in that small non-dimensional thing, we perceive ourselves as well as the outer universe or cosmos or whatever it is. All that what we see or get from outside input is all there. So when you leave all the things outside and when you come to this plane, then you have the real oneness there. So because all are one, you and the other things are not, those are, you will see those are inseparable things, all are together in that unimaginable space, isn't it? So that means the universal love or the unconditional love, whatever our spirituality or the religions proclaim, comes only when we get rid of our ego and the I, me, mind construct, and understand the outside world is of no value, and come into the inner mind world. Then you will realize that total unity, and then you will see the selfless, unconditional love.
Do you suggest that every individual can get to that inner understanding, or we need higher spiritual?
Yes. What Lord Buddha says is that we have to pursue three things according to him. One is the charitable acts, and the second one is virtuous living, and the third one is, as the previous question was asked, meditation is very important. And through those, we accumulate, because we have, as I mentioned there, the past action center has our past actions. It may have a lot of negative actions, sinful actions, what we have committed in this life and past lives. So to surpass that, we have to accumulate as much as positive actions. And with those positive actions, and listening to the spiritual discourses like the pathway, how this process is, and all that. Like, for example, the Lord Buddha has one preaching which calls the 3 knots. These are the 3 knots. So if somebody clears this knot, the mind, not in the mind, then he is liberated according to Lord Buddha.
That a blissful
yes.
state.
So so each one of us have to go there. We are destined to go there, but from outside to come to inside the inner mind world is the hard part. But we need to do a lot of meritorious acts, tame our mind, and the previous one was that is Diblin or Dibin. Diblin, no? I can't say what exactly her name is. Is Jung Diblin.
Colin.
Diblin, yes, okay. So the meditation is very important in that.
Do you know some easy way of meditating? Like, have you found something easy? Because for me, it's always difficult to meditate. I say lots of prayers, but to meditate, my mind goes like somewhere. If you have a nice way or quick way,
it is an intrinsic process. It is all knitted together, because say a person to be in a meditative mind, he should have a lot of virtuous action. The balance should be quite positive for him to tame the mind. So these things come hand in hand. So the virtuous acts. Meritorious acts, virtuous living, all those things come hand in hand with meditation.
Thank you. Yes. Oh, Ahmad, you are muted. Yeah.
Sorry, I pressed it, but it went off. I didn't. Andy, I have another question. In this gathering, we are a number of people, individuals that come from different backgrounds, race, language, religion, and all that. And we know that our human brain panics when hears or perceives new thoughts and unusual thoughts, and goes into a panicking mode. My question is that should we train our brain or mind that in order to be in harmony and tolerate people, to accept the thoughts of others in a sense of tolerating those thoughts and perceptions?
Yes.
So that we can live in a harmony.
Yes, correct. So, for example, if we can subdue our ego and the constructs of me, mind, and all those things, then you move towards this plane of the mind where there is total oneness. So then everything is accepted as one, or tolerated. So, not that, I won't say tolerance, acceptance. Yes, that is a better word.
Acceptance, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, Yong has got another question.
Yes.
Thank you very much. My next question is, you say to go from outside to inside. Another note is meditation. If I understand about Buddha teaching, he said if people want to reach enlightenment real fast, then they have to go away from society and go away from nature and put all their heart into meditation so they can see the Lord Buddha. But according to that Buddhist teaching that I heard from one of the highest ranking of the monks of Buddha, disciples, then it go a bit different from your 5 values. That about right actions. How can we go away of the nature of the society pressure and just go to meditate ourselves to become Buddha when we haven't helped with the right action to help people, just say, for example, create green energy?
I get the question, but not quite correctly. But can you say it again, the last bit?
What I'm saying, if I read right, then you said that, in the organization that you try to help, they have values like truth, right actions, peace, love, and non-violence.
Mm-hmm.
Is that all the principles that, any good organization will run?
Yes, yeah, but let me explain. Yes, I understand now. Basically, because for the prerequisite for the inner inquiry, as I mentioned, please listen carefully. So one is virtuous living. So the 5 fundamental human values, what you mentioned now, the peace, love, truth, non-violence, right conduct, those 5 values are basically a guidance for virtuous living. And then we have to do meritorious acts. And then meditation is another thing. Is that clear?
Yes, that's correct. But what I'm saying is, at the moment of when Buddha...
And about your question of meditation, going to the woods or, to the nature, that is the question, is it?
No, I mean, like, one of the Buddha teachings, they mentioned that when people go to meditation, mean that he will not notice so much about anything happen in the society or in the nature, because he was meditated, so he could come close to God and be with God and far away from all the trouble of life, like suffering, nature and society, because there's too many issue in a society that a monk or a priest shouldn't be involved with. But I don't know whether it's right or not, because one of your values was about right actions, mean that person have to take responsibility while they are on earth. They have a duty to help other people when they're on earth. And then, maybe meditation plus action plus service plus charity work plus all other things to qualify him to become Buddha or Bodhisattva.
That is correct, because it is not a continuous meditation. It is a mix of all these things.
Yes, that's right. Yes.
Yes, because and also meditation it depends on the person. You don't need to go to the woods to meditate, because you can do meditation wherever you are, but you have to tame your mind gradually with the virtuous living and meritorious acts and all those things coupled together. That is how it has to go.
Yes, that would be very helpful.
Yes, yes. And also one important thing you have to remember is what you mentioned, that you will not experience the outside trouble and the outside world, whatever happening outside when you are in meditation. But you have to remember when you are out of meditation, you are back into the same situation.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Correct. Yes. But here, the inner inquiry is after the understanding that through the meditative process, this is a permanent release from that.
Yes, yes, hopefully, yes. Because
Yes.
because
Yes.
you see, the society at the moment, we have COVID, we have domestic violence, we have family domestic violence and everything. So we try to help people that way. And so we just say we have to do right action is a step, and we have to promote harmony in the family and everything. So that's what's great.
Yes.
Okay, Siva has another question to ask.
Okay, Perry.
I know you are from Hindu background, and also you are deeply involved with Buddhist religious background, and now you see that there is similarity in this, the right in the presentation, whatever you did. They
in the Hindu concept.
Yes, it is similar. Right?
Yes, it is very similar. Yes. But the thing is, as I see, Lord Buddha has described it very in great detail.
Yes.
So if you go back to our Hindu literature, so I think you quoted Rig Veda in one of your prayers, isn't it? Yes. Those are very abstract things, very hard to understand in hard Sanskrit language. To understand that, they wrote Upanishads subsequently. And the Upanishads, some talk of this similar pathway, but again with some missing links. So, there is some disconnect of what they say. But here, this is a continuous explanation. There is continuity, clarity, and detail in Lord Buddha's explanation. And that is what I see.
And I also know that you are an ardent follower of Sai Baba, Swami Sai Baba.
Yes, correct.
And he was teaching about the unity of all religions. So do you?
Yes, correct. Yes.
Do you think that these singular concepts that you are describing might be in other religions as well?
I can't talk of all religions, but when you come into this plane, if you look at this diagram here in the screen, so come out of the world here, just leave these outside figures and all that, come into the inside, it is all one, isn't it? There is no distinction, no difference.
Okay, Sandy, I've got another question for you. In Baha'i writings, physical metaphors are used to give understanding of metaphysical concepts. Now, this is used a lot. Like, for example, showing Baha'u'llah says the sun, the physical sun, is an example of God because it gives you light, it gives you heat, it gives you life. So he says that physical concept is a metaphor for spiritual concepts. How would you say this would have an impact in the mind, using these metaphors, physical metaphors, to understand metaphysical concepts?
I could not see it as a metaphor here because it is quite a little bit of a different phenomena here. Because one thing I have to mention here is that because your question is also needs to be clarified first, I suppose. So because
that physical metaphors
yes,
can give you an understanding of metaphysical concept.
Yes. So, for example, the moment when we come from, when we untie this knot and this knot, those are the things we use our whatever the religious background we come from, to use that religious background and other tools to overcome this and come into the mental realm, that is the spiritual realm Lord Buddha calls. And when you come there, so your religion is of no relevance when you come here, because there is all oneness there. There is no Christianity there, there is no Hinduism there, there is no Islam there. It's all one there. So because it's a completely oneness plane there. From there, you can't explain the religious things which are only applicable to the outside physical world.
I wasn't thinking of religion. I was thinking of using physical metaphors to understand metaphysical concepts like spirit or God or things like that.
No, I don't have any metaphors like that. It's hard for me to say that, yes. No, sorry.
Okay, Zora has got another question. Maybe.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask you, how do you see the world going, or what do you see the future of the world? Do you have any light on
future of
the world? You know, the future of life or world is going.
Humanity.
Yeah, humanity. Yeah.
because again I go back to this diagram here. Yeah, it is displayed here. We have here all our past actions. Our future depends on all our collective past actions, because it is the past actions and the past memories that give us rebirth, according to the philosophy of Hinduism as well as Buddhism. So we have to rectify that by, again, virtuous living, meritorious acts and meditation, and basically a spiritual pathway. Then you will go into that. Is that clear?
I mean, is that the world is going towards that? Is there lots of people are doing? I mean, I just
because then again you can't generalize for the humanity as such, because each person is on a different path. Sorry, at different location in the same path, you know, not in a different path, maybe the same path at different locations, depending on the cumulative past actions they have over the past lives and this life.
Yes, past actions and past memories are a guide for us to take action for the future.
Yes, yes.
Is that the case? Yeah. Okay, Vasanta has got a question.
Yes, yes, Vasanta.
Okay. Sorry, I think that in because what you are saying is about related to what is in Buddhism. So I think in Buddhism that we cannot have a later God and the Son. It may not be possible because in Buddhism you don't believe in the God as such. So there may be not you cannot relate to like what we find in the Baha'i faith, or relating to just a God to the Son or something that may not be possible. Is that right?
No, but the thing is this, you know, because Lord Buddha, when asked the question of whether there is God, he did not answer that question, because for him, he is using to bring the question of the concept of God comes only when you are spiritual traversity is from here to here, from the outside to the inside mind. So then only you need the concept of God. Instead of using the concept of God, Lord Buddha is using the concept of nature. It happens according to nature, because the past actions, he calls, it's the law of karma, like the Newton's law. Everything happens according to the law of karma to each person or each soul, each living being. That is what he says. He doesn't refer it to God as such, because the moment you come over here, you transcend that concept of God.
Yeah.
And also religion also.
Okay, Sandy, I've got something else. I am interested very much in astronomy, and the scientists in astronomical scientists say this concept of the universe, that we exist, and they see these images that are billions of years, the light has taken billions of years to come to us, and we see these galaxies all over the universe. And they say that because we exist and we can see the other galaxies exist in the images, so those other galaxies exist, so the universe exists. So I'm taking you to the point of concept of deduction from points of contemplation. So what do you think about this, that we can perceive spiritual concepts by using these methodological perception of deduction of, how would I put it?
You mean induction?
No, deduction of.
Deduction, yes, okay.
Deduction of concepts.
Uh-huh.
Lead us to spiritual concepts.
Uh-huh.
What do you think of that? Using deduction of concepts in order to understand or perceive spiritual concepts?
Yes, it is a bit hard to say, because it is how we perceive the things outside the galaxies and all those things what you mentioned is through our senses, eye and other senses, and also through the equipment what we have constructed, isn't it? So yes, because we already know that the mind is playing a big trick on us. So these things, whether exactly they are telling us the correct picture or not is we don't know. But assuming that there are things outside, so what we really see, we don't see any of those things through the eye, through the telescope, or through the whatever equipment we have. So it is all again the same process in the mechanism, the same inner mechanism which I explained. The mind gets all that information, but it projects it outside.
You know, astronomers use the concept of deduction to say that those galaxies that the light comes from million years of light to us,
mm-hmm.
because we exist.
Mm-hmm.
So there's kind of a deduction concept.
Yes.
They use a deduction concept to say that the universe exists because we exist, and we can see this light that has come from the past.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
yes.
They use this deduction concept.
Yes, you can use that.
That the universe exists.
Yes, you can use that.
Yeah. So can we use that to understand? Can we use this deduction concept to understand metaphysical concepts like religion, God, and spirit, things like that?
No, I don't think so. It is not. It is a different way of perceiving things, understanding things. Because what you said, the outside world, you are looking outside of yourself. Here, this one is basically the inner inquiries. You are looking within yourself. You are looking inwards. That is, to you are inside, to your inner mechanisms, what is happening inside you, and what is the correct structure what you get from them, and what is the correct understanding you get. It is a spiritual part, a spiritual path. I think that this the same analogy, you can't use it here.
Yeah, well, the spiritual concepts are very difficult to understand. For example, a lot of people do not believe in God because they can't physically perceive them. Yeah. So maybe if they use deduction concepts, that's, for example, Abdul Baha says that, look at this bright sun. It gives you life, heat, and energy. So you can use this this physical concept in order to understand what God is, giving you life, spiritual heat, spiritual vigorness, things like that. So perhaps you can use this deduction concept in order to understand spiritual concepts.
No, I cannot say something similar because it is very hard for me to explain on a similar basis.
Maybe
As I see, those two things are quite different. Yes.
Maybe the inner inquiry that one makes, if the inner inquiry actually leads you that way, probably you will find that as a way of understanding that the spiritual concept.
Yes, you will understand, yes, but it is a parallel world, but it is different.
Yes.
It is different.
Yep.
But that is the real, how do you call it? It comes with spiritual wisdom, really, that understanding.
Okay, we are getting to 8:50. I'm wondering whether we should start gathering. So it was very nice, Sandy, to hear from you.
Thank you.
Important concept of looking at inner being, inner inside of us, and look at our inner spirituality, which is very important in every human life.
Thank you so much. Yes.
Thank you for your presentation.
Very much.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank
you very much.
Sandy, and
thank you, Annie.
Thank you, Sandanam.
No. Okay.